first of all, congratulations. You are officially the Republican nominee for the Senate race.
Well, thank you, Claire. You know, I remember in 14 as an outsider entering this political process for the first time. It was an alien world. It still feels like an alien world to me. I mean, I'm still the outsider in the belly of the beast up here, but I kind of like running without a primary opponent this time. It's a little easier than 2014 when we had 9 people in that race. But I'm humbled. I mean, I'm serious. I use that word a lot. This is a big responsibility. We ran to try to change the direction of the country. We've achieved a good bit. And I'm anxious to continue that effort. We've got a lot of work to do in so many areas. So I'm delighted to go into this debate with whoever is the winner on the Democratic side in their primary in the next few months as we articulate the Republican ethos and what we believe in and why we think this socialist agenda the Democrats are trying to perpetrate is so wrong.
Let's talk about the big story yesterday. It made national news. Some of the lines that were captured at polling places around the state. A lot of people at pretty much every level have called for some sort of investigation or review of what happened. What do you think happened, and what do we need to do better for November?
Claire, this is outrageous. It's embarrassing. It's totally unacceptable. But here's the untold story. We've heard the Democrats talk for a couple of years about voter suppression in Georgia and how it cost them a gubernatorial election in 2018. I just don't believe that. And here's the untold story, and the evidence is there in this election this week and over the last few weeks. First of all, in Georgia, like all states, elections are run by counties. The boards of election run these elections in each county. And 150 of our 159 counties had no problem yesterday in this election over the last few weeks running absentee ballots, early voting, and election day voting. Had no problems. But 6 or 7 or 8 counties all around Atlanta are the perennial offenders of this. It goes back 20 years. It's the same counties every single time. And these counties, ironically, are dominated by Democratic election boards. Now, these Democratic election boards are the ones responsible. In Fulton County, for example, several people on my staff, Republicans, who applied for an absentee ballot were denied, never got an absentee ballot. Lines, as you say, were outrageous. And as late as Saturday, Fulton County was trying to hire a couple hundred people to man the polls. Well, that's too late. There's no way to train those people and so forth. So this is a travesty. It's a mistake, and it either happened by incompetence or malfeasance. And I think somebody needs to get to the bottom of it, Claire.
I do want to press you, though. We saw some lines in Savannah, Macon, Columbus, other metro areas, too. It wasn't just Atlanta. Is that fair?
No, but it was primarily in those types of counties that were dominated by Democratic election boards. Just go back and look. I mean, this is the point. It's either incompetence or malfeasance, Claire. I can't tell you which at this point, but it's been too consistent over a long period of time. You know, you can blame it on the state, whatever, but it's these counties that are really responsible for the elections at the local level.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Obviously, we're in the midst of a pandemic. This is a strange time to be campaigning, but one of the big things that is being talked about in Washington right now is what's the next step as far as economic relief. There's some debate about, do we need another relief package? Do we need to sort of wait and see what happens? Recovery numbers looked better in the last few days. So what do you think needs to happen next, or do we need to take a little more time to wait and see?
The job report Friday was a shock to all of us, including me. I mean, the forecast was that we would lose 8 million jobs. Instead, we created 2.5 million jobs in May. That's the largest job creation month in U.S. history. It's a shock to all of us, but it shows the resilience of this economy. It also shows that what we've done so far in trying to bridge this gap and with the relief package that we had in the CARES Act is beginning to work. Now, I think it's too early to claim victory because we've got a long way to go to open the economy, but we've only put about half of the money out so far of the 2.9 trillion we appropriated, Claire. So I, for one, would love to see how the Main Street program is going to be received. We know that the PPP program was a huge success so far because $500 billion, a little over $510 billion was appropriated and has already been sent out. 660 was appropriated, but 510 has already been put out. The average loan, Claire, for that $500 billion is $116,000. These are small businesses are getting these loans, and some of those are beginning to reopen. Georgia is leading the charge in reopening, and I think if we all are careful and follow the protocols laid out by the governor and the president in his 3-phased approach, like other countries, we can reopen our economy safely.
So final question for you. You are officially in campaign mode now that now that we're through the primary. But what does this look like with the current situation that we're in? It's not your typical election season. And I know, the last one wasn't typical either for you, having run for the first time. But what does the next few months look like, you think?
Well, as you know, when you and I were at a school safety event with the First Lady several months ago, after COVID-19, this is a different time for all of us. We can't foresee the time when we're going to be able to have large gatherings. The president, as you know, can pull 25,000 people into a stadium and do that readily. He's not able to do that right now. We are, in terms of our campaign, going to more of a remote access. We've reached out during the pandemic in Georgia through these constituent conference calls we do at night to almost 1 million Georgians. And we were able to hear from them their concerns and problems. We were able to direct them to resources and places that they could get information. So this has been extremely enlightening. This is a new day, though, and we're going to have to find a way to be creative to reach the voters and to make sure they understand what the election is all about. And this election is going to be very clear, the presidential election and even in my election at the Senate level. And that is, what kind of America do you want your kids and grandkids to have? And I think it's going to be very clear. The Democrats have made it very clear that they want to move to a socialist agenda. And my purpose in the next few months is going to be to expose that and to draw the contrast to what we've already proven. What we are proving right now before COVID was that what we believe in actually works. I mean, 2.5 million people under President Trump have been pulled out of poverty. That's remarkable after 60 years of trying after the Great Society's War on Poverty, where poverty rate didn't change at all, Claire. So there's a lot yet to come. We want to continue to move the economy and make this economy work for everyone. But I'll say this economic turnaround that we have witnessed, the best in American history, in my view, has benefited the people at the bottom of the workforce. We've helped 2.5 million people come out of poverty. We also have the lowest African-American unemployment in U.S. history prior to COVID and the highest middle-class income. So this is something we want to get back to, and we know how to do that. We just hope to get through these elections, and we'll try to find a new way to make sure that we get this message out.
All right. Thank you so much for your time today, Senator. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Claire. It's good to see you again.